Welcome back to our video series, Having Better Client Conversations. Here in part 2, we discuss asking insightful questions. How do we develop and ask even better questions when we're in a client conversation? So the first thing we want to do is we want to understand the types of questions that we should be asking. We've got 5 different questions that we can ask. The first one we call the permission question. And it's very simply, when we start off, so it doesn't sound like an interrogation that Dennis referred to earlier, is we just want to say, Suzanne, I appreciate that we've had the chance to sit down for a few minutes. I want to know more about what your needs are. Do you mind if I ask you a few questions? And almost 99.999% of the cases, they'll do exactly what Suzanne did. As a matter of fact, they will be happy that somebody has actually thought about them enough to ask them questions instead of start to tell them what I can do for them. So there is nothing wrong with going into your interview with your questions all written down in the proper order and prepared. What it shows your client or your prospect is they're ready for this. Now, as we work with this doesn't mean that you have to ask, no, I'm sorry, I know you were telling me you wanted to buy, Craig, but I have another question that I have to ask you, right? The questions are a guideline for you, right? They're not required, but if you get lost, instead of going into the tell, you can go to your sheet and say, oh, here's another thing I needed to know before I start to tell you to practice. So the first question is a permission question. The second question is what we call an information gathering question, right? So information gathering questions are questions like, how long have you been in business? Do you have a financial plan right now? Those are information gathering questions. Now, the interesting thing about information gathering questions is you may already know the answer to them. It's okay. As I understand it, you have 15 trees in your yard. Right? Nothing wrong with that question to confirm things and show that you've done a little bit of study. So we're trying to get responses back from not just yes, no. But there's nothing wrong with confirming. So don't go in there with all this knowledge and not confirm that knowledge. Again, that shows them, oh, she did some work before she got here. She understands my needs. All right? So that's the information gathering questions. The problem questions takes us one level further into the process. Do you have any trees that are you're currently concerned about? Right? Do you find that your land isn't usable because you have too many trees? Do you have any trees hanging over the house that you're concerned if they fall, they're going to damage the home? Do you have any trees that are going through wires that you're concerned or that you're going to have to take care of because your city doesn't do it for you? Whatever those questions are, right? One of the things that you'll notice is that we start with what kind of questions? Easy questions. Start with easy questions and get the questions more difficult. Don't start with your most difficult questions because they will balk at them. So as you're trying to build rapport and you're trying to allow them to answer more questions, you want to start with easy questions and build your way up. The third type of question takes us a little bit further, and this is the advantage focus question. Now the advantage focus question is a problem question which you are particularly good at answering. All right, so Julie, what about Edina Realty or about the way that you work with people, what separates you from the competition? What makes you particularly better for them to work with?
I do consultations for my clients. I do staging consultations. I do
Okay, so let's say just staging, right? So rather, you will help them bring in professionals that can stage their home and make it look really good, right? Okay? So a question that she might ask is, do you think it's important to have your home looking as good as possible when new prospective buyers come? Okay? Oh yes, I think that is important. Okay? Now, the issue is, now she doesn't say, okay, well I can do this and this and this. She packs that away. You told me this was important. I've got this important fact back here. When I start to sell later, I'm going to use it. But I'm not selling now. That's the challenge that we face. We find that little crack. Oh yes, I think staging is important. Boom, 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 boom. Now I start to tell them about staging. Now I've confused the two issues. I'm still in the interrogation, I'm still in the questioning part, and now I've seen something important and I want to try and fill it. No, save that for later. Don't try and fill that now, because what you want to do is build on that. All right? So the advantage-focused questions are problem questions where you are particularly good. And then the final questions are the ideal situations. And that's where we start to take them into the future. Where do you see yourself being in the future, right? So we've heard some of their problems and some of their issues, and now we want to ask them about, so Craig might ask some questions about, let's say you're going to remodel a basement, put in a recreation room. You do that quite commonly. Is that a big part of your business?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So we want to ask questions about, can you see yourself having your kids' friends come over to your house so you can monitor things a little bit better because there's a great place for them to play? Would that be important to you, right? So get them visioning toward the future of better. Wouldn't it be nice to feel healthier in the future, not have your knees hurt because you're getting proper nutrition, right? And your weight is under control. So the last questions are on getting them to vision for the future, all right?
All right.
So here's the interesting thing that people think. Well, we worked on this, and we only worked on it for about 5 minutes, but we kind of came up with some, but maybe one. Maybe it was hard to come up with the second one. And I'm going to have this happen automatically when I sit down with a client in a pressure situation. This is going to come right to my mind, and I can't pull it to mind now. That's why we prepare and practice, right?